Hello everybody. This will be our first tutorial discussing creating our project, and we will start from scratch. So the first thing that we're going to do after reopening Revit 2020 is to go to new over here and under models, and once you click on a new, it will ask you to select the template file. I'll click browse because I have a couple of remarks over here that you need to know. By default, when I installed Revit 2020 on my machine, I asked Revit to make US metric as my default to select templates, hence to select my families from it. And if I go up one step, you can see that US Imperial is installed as well. So one of the very important issues over here that Revit, if you didn't interfere, if you left the installation as using the default settings, that Revit will install for you two contents, which is US metric and US Imperial. By making US Imperial the default, once you open or once you create a new project, the US Imperial will be the one shown for you. I ask Revit to make US metric to be my default. Also, you can ask Revit to download for you other contents using templates and families like Europeans, like South Africans, like I'm not so sure about this, Germany, other contents that has all the settings of these countries. That's one of the very important issues. The second thing, once you install, if you are doing that at home, once you install the software, make sure that you are online, because at a certain moment Revit will download the contents from the cloud, and hence you need to be online. That's going to take a 1.8 gigabyte of space for the content to be installed. That is if you only chose US metric and US Imperial. If you chose others, the number of gigas will be more than that. We'll select default metric.rte. We said about the RVT, which is Revit project file. RTE is for Revit template file, and we'll select the default metric.rte, and we'll say open. Then we'll say OK, because we want to create a new project based on the template default metric.rte, and we'll say OK. All right, once we do that, you can see that Revit created, without consulting us, two levels called level 1 and level 2, and floor plan 2 views, ceiling plan 2 views, and 4 elevation views, which is north, south, east, and west. So let's go to the south, and we'll see the two levels. So as a rule of thumb over here, once you create a level, Revit will create for it two views, a floor plan and ceiling plan. We'll see that in a moment. What about the naming? Level 1 and level 2, you can leave it as is, or you can simply change or edit the name. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over here and go to level 1 and click once on the name, then again, so I can change the name over here. I'll use a digit, then letters to indicate the name of the level. So the levels will be sorted out using the digit, not the letters. We'll press enter. Once we press enter, you can see that would you like to rename corresponding views? They mean the floor plan view and the ceiling plan view, and we'll say yes. And you can see right now that 0GF, which is the name of the level, is the same name of the floor plan and a ceiling plan. We will go over here, click once, click twice, and then say 1, then the letter F for first. Then press enter and then say yes. Great. Now you can see that the distance between the height between the two levels is a 4,000 millimeter. That's a 4 meters. And now we will add 2 more levels. The first one, we'll go to architecture, go to datum, we'll go to level. And we'll go to level. And we can draw, as you can see. We can simply take a certain reference and we can draw as we wish. But I like to use always the pick lines with an offset value. Very important to understand this. And I'll say 4,000. And you have to click over here. This is going to be the level of the roof. So we don't need any structure. We don't do any structural work. So we will click off the structural work. And we don't need any ceiling plan view for it because it's the roof. We'll click. And then we'll keep only the floor plan to be created over here. We'll say OK. Then we will hover over the level we want. And you can see that it will be at the north of it or the top of it, and we'll click. You can see now it gave it a temporary name, which is 1G, and then we'll click again, and we'll call it 2R. We'll press enter, and it'll say, would you like to rename the corresponding views? Yes, we would like to do that. So we have, as you can see in the floor plan, 0GF, 1F, 2R, and a ceiling plan 0GF, 1F only. The last level that we will create is for the parapet, and we'll click on that, and it's a 1 meter height, and we will turn off make plan view, so we don't need neither structural nor plan floor plan view or a ceiling plan view for the parapet. If we need it later on, maybe we will create them once we needed them, but for the moment I don't need them. I'll just hover over and click. It gave it a temporary name to S. We'll click again, and then we'll call it 4, and we'll use the P for the parapet. Press enter, and as you can see now can you differentiate between that the color over here is blue, the color over here is black, and which means that once you don't have any floor plan or a ceiling plan or a structural plan for a certain level, it will be blacked out, it will be blacked. If you have a single view representing this level, it will be blue. So now, as you can see, there is an interference in text between these two levels, and we can click on that. And you can go over here for add elbow, click. You can see now I can just take it over and then make some adjustments so it will look good. You can see now the absolute height 0, 4,000, 8,000, and 9,000. So our building will be at the maximum height of 9 meters. As you can see, it's not going to be a big building. It's going to be a small office building. Great. Now we'll go to 0GF and we'll start putting our grid. Again, we are in architecture. Under datum, we'll go to grid. We'll click on grid. And I'll start drawing. I will click over here, go upwards, and then click over here. The distance is not that much important. It named it 1, and I'll click over here, click again, and call it A capital. Now, I want to create the second one. I'll go to grid, and I'll assign a pick lines with 12,500. then I will go make sure it's at the right, and it named it B. Okay, I'll create another one which is a 5,000 to the right, and that will be the issue, and it's called C by default. Great. Once I create a new one over here, horizontal one, I'll click and go all the way. No, I want the bubble to be at the right, so I'll go this way, and it gave it the name D, but I will click again and change it. I'm changing it at once, so the second one will be easier for me. I'll say grid. I'll make pick lines. I'll go to 2,500, and that's going to be 2,000. It's going to be 3, and 9,000. It's going to be 4, another 2,000. It's going to be 5, and finally at 2,500 is going to be 6. So that's my 3 vertical grids and 6 horizontal grids that will represent the architectural grids for my building. And so what we did is we go to the south and we build our model levels first, and we give it good naming method. Then we go to the GF. By the way, you can create this, for instance, in the north or in the south or in the east. There is no preferable elevation place to create it. The same thing goes for whether you want to create the grids in the GF or in the first floor or on the roof. There is no preference over here. Great. What we will do right now, since we draw our grids, we will start drawing our outer shell of the walls that we want to. And I will start with going over here to wall and choose wall architectural. And as I told you before, lots of things over here that need to be set. But first, I'd like to show you a couple of things. First is there are 3 main types of walls. And you can see now a title over here. First one called the basic wall. The second one called the curtain wall. And the third one called the stacked wall. And we will cover them all, hopefully, in this course. The basic wall is the main wall that you will use it almost all over your model. And we will use both a curtain wall and a basic wall, and maybe we will use a stacked wall in a different example. So what we're going to do is we're going to select one of these preset families, and maybe in the next tutorials we will cover other methods of changing the wall family. Wall families, I will pick this. Wall family is called a system family. That means you cannot copy it or you cannot save it to your hard disk, just like doing that with doors and windows that we will do in the next couple of videos. But you need to be aware that if you create a custom wall family in one of your projects, you have to use it or to recreate it in the others, because you cannot save it to the hard disk. But you need to either recreate it in the new project, or you can simply copy and paste in the new project. That's one thing that you have to understand. One important thing that I would like to show you before we go on with inputting our walls is to go to edit type. Then under construction there is a parameter called structure, and there is a button here called edit. Click on edit. Once you click on it, you can see that any wall family or any wall type is consisting of layers of materials and with thicknesses. And if you click on the preview over here, you can see from inside to outside. It's from interior side to the exterior side. So this layer is this layer, and this layer is this layer. So once I click on the layers, you can see now they are actually highlighted. Now, one of very important things you have to understand is there is a layer called always what we call the core boundary layer. And there is only here, at this example, there is only one layer inside it, which is concrete masonry unit. It's 100 millimeter thickness. And all of the other layers are sticking with it. So everything is linked with it. And accordingly, you can assign, or you can see there are 6 lines that we can work with. It's the exterior line of the whole wall or the interior line of the whole wall. If you took the thickness over here and divided by 2, it's the center line of the whole wall. That's 3 lines. Another 3 lines would be the exterior part of the core, the interior part of the core, and the center line of the core. So we have 6 lines to work with. Why I'm saying these things? Because in a moment you will see that Revit will ask you from where you will hold your line of assigning your work. You can see that's 264 as a total thickness, and there is a thickness for each one of the layers. There are certain layers, as you can see, which called the membrane layer, vapor retrader. It's a 0 thickness, and we will cover these things later on once we go on more into details of our walls. Say preview, we'll turn it off, and we'll say OK and OK. Now you need to specify whether you will go up from this level or below this level. So we go up. We are in 0GF, as you can see. And whether your level, whether your up is going to be which one of these. You're starting with a 0GF. Where you want to go with the height? We'll go with, I call that 4P. This is a mistake. It should be 3P. And I should have corrected this. Let me correct it. And go to the south. Go over here. Click the name. It's going to be 3P and not 4P. Yeah, there you go. That's the right name. So again, we will start with the wall architectural, and there you go. This is the family that we chose. Is going to go from the base of 0GF up until the 3P. Now it will ask me about the location line. The location line is going to be one of the 6 lines I talked about a couple of minutes ago. The wall center line, the core center line, the finish face exterior, the finish face interior, the core face exterior, the core face interior. And I will choose finish face exterior. And so once we draw, the grid lines will be our finish face exterior. It's going to be chained, and what's the meaning of chain over here is the end of each segment will link to the beginning of the segment that you have to assign, which means that if you specify 2 walls, you need 3 points, neither to have 4 points. And joining will be automatic, so I will join status will be allow. We will discuss that in the coming videos. Hopefully you have allow or disallow. We will make sure that's allow all the time unless we want to disallow the joining. Now, where should we start? So we specify the height. It's going to be height from this level up, not from this level down. That's the depth. And it's going to be to the 3P. As you can see now, the same things from properties of over here. It's going to help me to assign lots of things. Now, to start my work, I will start from A2. There you go. This is A2. But I will go something like 2 meters before that. You can see the temporary dimension. Can you see the temporary dimension? Which will be shown automatically to help me assign specifically where I want to start. I'll click. Can you see the wall now? The wall is in, I'm specifying the exterior face of the wall. We'll click over here, then we'll go, yes, that's right, to the B, go all the way to B3, and then go to C3. You can see now this is what I'm calling about the joining. And I'll go over here, go over here, go all the way, yes, over here, go over here, then go over here. Now you can see now the alignment will be shown automatically. Can you see the alignment line? The dotted or the dashed line, the blue line, that will help me to measure in a good and accurate way. As you can see now, you can see crosses as the hatch of the wall because we did not actually turn it to medium. Once we turn it to medium, you can see that the different levels. And once I change the visual style to shaded, you can see now the colors is implemented as well. Great. What we need to do is to create an arc over here with the following techniques. We'll click on one of the walls. We right click and we'll say create similar. That will help me have the same settings that I did with the previous walls to be used again. And we will select arc, and can you see that arc is start, end, radius arc. That you mean to specify 3 things: the start, the end, and the radius in this order. We'll select start, end, radius. We'll come over here, we'll click. This is the start. Go all the way. This is going to be the end. And now we have to specify the radius. As you can see, if you go all the way, you can see that it snaps to the full radius of the arc. If you don't, you can simply move, and we can specify, move the cursor and specify the radius. And if you type in, you will type in the radius 11000. That's 1. It's 11,000 millimeters. 11 meter. We'll press enter. So I specified these the arc as I want. So if we go over here to the default 3D view, we'll click. You can see now the our model, how it shaped up. Again, if you change that to shaded, you can see now all of the gypsum board is inside, all of the brick is from outside, so everything is in order. If you zoom in, you can see the bricks, how they are sorted out. There are certain things that we can do. As you can see, now we can click on the levels, and you can show the level as a cutting level of your model. That will help you assign and make sure that you are doing your wall as you want it. So we'll go to 0GF, and we have now the next thing that we will do. We will use the something called storefront in curtain walls. And that would do something very nice, which is it will penetrate whatever the basic wall, and it will just fill in the space. So we'll see that in a moment. We'll start with this, but before we do, there is a problem. I would like to specify my curtain wall over here in this wall, which is a curved wall. And I'd like to specify that very accurately. So one of the methods to do that is to use what we call the reference planes. We'll go to architecture. There is a panel called the work plane, and there is something called the reference plane. So what we will do, we'll click on the reference plane. We'll specify lines which will help us to allocate the beginning and end of our curtain wall, very importantly. Now I want my reference plane to start at the center point of this arc. How can I do that? I will type the two letters SC, S for snap and C for center. So I will type now SC without pressing enter, SC, and just hover over the arc, and you can see that the center is specified. And I will go there all the way, and I can stop anywhere. I can click over here. The issue of to start from the center is very important for us. We'll start the reference plane again, go to the end of that, and I want at 25 degrees to be measured as an angle between the horizontal and this a new reference plane, and that's 155. That's right, because 180 minus 155, that will be a 25. Click. Any length here is not important. We'll do the same thing over here. Click, and we'll go making sure it's 155. Yes, it's 155, and we'll click over here. Again, the length is not important. Now, the intersection between the basic wall and the reference plane will indicate the beginning and ending of the curtain walls. So we'll go now, since we specify it very accurately, we'll go to wall architecture, and we'll go to the type selector, and we'll go to curtain wall. We'll choose storefront. Very importantly, we'll choose storefront. Why storefront? As we said, storefront is consisting of both aluminum and glass, and it can penetrate the basic walls and fill in. So we'll go to storefront. Now we need to specify the height, whether it's going to 3P or not. That's the things that we will specify in the coming minute. Now we will have to specify the base constraint. The base constraint is 0GF, but I want a positive offset of a 1000. And it should go to the 3P, but I need it to be with a negative offset of 1000. And as I'm building up my numbers, as you can see, there is a read-only parameter over here called unconnected height, and it is a 7000. That will give you the net value or the height of the wall before you start working. We'll go to the arc, and we will come over here, make sure that I'm in the middle, make sure that I can see the intersection. Go all the way, and then make sure to see the intersection again. Oh, okay. Then I'll go over here and make sure to see the dotted line and click. And once I did that, you can see now that the wall is, as I told you, will penetrate the basic wall and fill in the void. If you go to 3D, okay, you can see now what I meant by filling in and setting up all of the things. That's the curtain wall storefront, which, as I said, got aluminum sections and glass, and we will discuss about aluminum and glass lots of times in this course. Great. Now let's go and visit some of making sure that it looks good. So I'm gonna just simply just push these things a little bit, so it will just making sure that the elevation looks good. So we'll visit others, go to the west, and it looks good. Maybe we need to click on this, just get them away from each other like we did, and that's good. Go to the north, and it looks good. Again, we need to add an elbow. One of the things that you need to do is to make sure that your views looks good. So I'm just revisiting all of these and making sure that I need to just do as simple things. Maybe, yeah, I think it's good. So if you go to 3D right now, as you can see in lots of views, you got 3D right now, you can see now your model looks very, very good. Great. Go to the PDF file. It contains all the tutorials. One single PDF file contains all the tutorials, and just go and do tutorial 1. Of course, you don't need to open any existing files because you will start a new file. Thank you very much.